The theater was buzzing, lights humming softly, judges flipping their notes, when a slim Filipino teenager stepped onto the massive AGT stage with nothing but a borrowed guitar and a nervous smile. Before he even spoke, the crowd felt it, that fragile mix of fear and hope that comes from someone who has walked a long road just to stand under those lights. And then it happened. Barely 10 seconds into his song, Simon raised his hand. The music stopped. Gasps filled the room. The boy froze. In that moment, millions of viewers would have clicked away, but this was only the beginning. Before this story unfolds, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us till the end, because what happened next shocked everyone and changed a life forever. His name was Miguel Santos, 17 years old, from a small coastal town in the Philippines where power cuts were common and dreams were often whispered, not spoken aloud. Miguel grew up in a one-room house with a rusted tin roof, where rain sounded like drums and hope lived in old cassette tapes. His father, a tricycle driver, used to play Elvis Presley songs on a battered radio after long days on the road. If you're going to sing, his father would say, sing like you mean it. When his father passed away suddenly, that radio became a memory, and Elvis became a voice that kept Miguel breathing when the world felt too heavy. Every night after school, Miguel practiced in front of a cracked mirror, mimicking Elvis's stance, his voice trembling but determined. Neighbors laughed sometimes. Others told him to be realistic. Singing wouldn't pay the bills. But Miguel kept going, because when he sang, he wasn't poor, he wasn't grieving, he was free. The AGT audition was his first time leaving the Philippines. He had never flown before. His hands shook as he handed his number to the stage assistant. Backstage, he watched confident performers rehearse, some with coaches, others with families cheering them on. Miguel stood alone, clutching his guitar, whispering a prayer his mother taught him when he was small. Lord, if this is not for me, give me strength to accept it. When his turn came, he walked onto the stage, blinded by lights, heart pounding so loudly he was sure the microphones could hear it. The judges asked his name, where he was from. He spoke softly, his accent thick, his voice polite and respectful. When Simon asked what he would sing, Miguel smiled shyly and said, Elvis Presley. A few eyebrows lifted. Some in the audience chuckled. Elvis had been done before too many times. The music began. Miguel's voice came out shaky, thin with nerves. 10 seconds in, Simon stopped him. Stop. Stop, Simon said, holding up his hand. I'm sorry. The room went silent. Miguel felt his chest collapse. His ears rang. For a split second, he thought of his mother watching from home, staying up past midnight just to see him sing. He thought of his father's radio. He lowered his head, whispering, thank you for the chance. But Simon leaned forward. You're nervous. And you're copying Elvis instead of feeling him. Miguel looked up, eyes wet. Simon continued, right now, I don't believe you. And that's a problem. The words cut deep. Miguel nodded slowly. He was ready to walk off, his dream ending in 10 seconds, until Simon added, but I think there's something there. So I'm going to give you one more chance. No music. Sing from your heart. The audience murmured. The judges leaned in. Miguel swallowed hard. No music meant nowhere to hide. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, his voice changed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. But it was raw. Miguel sang an Elvis classic, stripped down, slow, every word soaked in longing. His voice cracked on certain notes, not from weakness, but from emotion he could no longer hold back. He sang like a boy who had lost his father. Like a son trying to make a promise he was afraid he might break. Like someone who knew this might be his only chance. The laughter was gone. The audience leaned forward, silent. As the song went on, something magical happened. Miguel stopped imitating Elvis and started channeling him, not the legend, but the loneliness behind the legend. When he reached the final line, his voice soared, not loud, but true. A silence, then one clap, then another. Within seconds, the entire theater erupted. The judges stood. One wiped away tears. Simon stayed seated for a moment, staring, then slowly rose to his feet. I stopped you, Simon said, because I didn't want to copy. What you just did, that was you. And that was extraordinary. Miguel covered his mouth, shaking. He nodded, unable to speak. You're not here to be Elvis, Simon added. You're here to be Miguel. And the world needs that. For Yes lit up the screen backstage, Miguel collapsed into tears, hugging a producer who had to remind him to breathe. Across the ocean, in a small Philippine town, his mother fell to her knees, crying, neighbors cheering around her as if it were a national victory. The weeks that followed were not easy. Miguel struggled with confidence, with pressure, with the fear of failing again. But every time he stepped on stage, he remembered that moment when he was almost sent home, when everything seemed lost, and how one honest song changed everything. Not be why the time the live shows arrived, Miguel was no longer the nervous boy with a borrowed guitar. He was a storyteller. He sang Elvis, yes, but he also sang originals inspired by his father, his home, his pain, and his hope. The world listened. Miguel didn't win the competition, but he won something bigger. A record deal. A platform. A voice. Most importantly, he won belief in himself. Today, Miguel still carries that old radio with him on tour. Before every show, he turns it on, listens to Elvis for a moment, and smiles. Not because he wants to be him, but because he knows where he came from. So if you're watching this feeling like your dream was stopped in 10 seconds, remember this story. Sometimes rejection isn't the end. Sometimes it's the moment that forces you to become real. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Because your voice, just like Miguel's, might be one moment away from changing everything.